So today I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys another Dungeons & Dragons story. The story that I wanted to talk about today has to do with a chaotic good paladin that I made, a tiefling paladin of Torm. And this character was a female character. It was a female tiefling that I made. And I ended up going out to a local game store. I sat down at the table. He had approximately 8 or 9 people playing, with myself included. I sat down at the table, made a character, go. Now, the dungeon master here had his kids there at the table, not at the table with him, but they were there in the game store with him. And as much as I don't want to be mean to this individual, I think that overall he probably is a really good DM. I just think that he might have been overstressed. There may have been too many players at the table. Maybe he didn't really understand why I built the character and the concept the way I did, but most of the people at the table tended to try and... there were 2 people at the table, 2 older players that tried to rules lawyer while we were sitting there. There were people that whenever I told them, because originally I had made a paladin of Pelor, but apparently Pelor is Greyhawk, and because we were playing in Faerun, that was an impossibility. And I had to pick a new god. Not really the issue. I was okay with that because there were other gods in the handbook that I was more than willing to choose, Torm being one of them. But what I ended up finding was that when playing this game, it was a lot of... The first thing was that he ran the game as if I had been there the entire time, and then didn't tell me what we were really doing. He just went, well, you're not with the party, go. Okay, well, what is the party doing? And then nobody really explained that to me. Apparently, they were getting items for their adventure. I didn't get any new items because nobody explained to me that that was something I could do. Okay, well, I guess I'll just have to live with that. I'm okay with the items that I have. Of course, we ended up sitting down to play, and I played for probably about 3 hours with these guys, and the biggest point to me, the point that ended up being the most disappointing to me was when we sat down to play and we had gotten into the sewers of the city of Waterdeep. When we got into the sewers, we ended up getting into combat a set of 5 skeletons. And after this encounter, we ended up getting into a second encounter with what seemed to be a really large number of lizard folk. Probably a kobold with them. I'm not exactly sure. But I ended up asking a simple question. I looked across the table. The first thing was, on our way into the sewers, I almost forgot about this part, sorry guys. On our way down into the sewers, I wasn't leading the pack. I actually had the kobold sorcerer went down first, followed by one of our rogues. And as they were going down, the kobold set off a fleet of bats, who immediately went to the nearest exit that they could fly through, which was, of course, the sewer opening that we were in. So there were the ranger and I believe a rogue was going down into the sewer, and they started getting bitten by these guys. One of those things that it just happens. This is Dungeons & Dragons. Sometimes you get swarmed. It's fine. But whenever he explained that the bats came bellowing out of this sewer opening, I looked at him and I went, I squeal. Because my character is a noble. My character might be a paladin of Torm, but that does not mean that she does not have instances where she may squeal or be surprised. And he kind of laughed at that and went, wow, what paladin of Torm? And I almost took that offensively because I was role-playing my character. I was allowing for my character to be a person. So later on, whenever we were in the dungeon, back to where we were at, we were in the sewers and we were fighting 5 undead, 5 skeletons, who we ended up killing, whatever you do when you defeat undead, and found ourselves being attacked from behind by lizard folk. From what I could tell, he said that there were probably about 15 of them, which doesn't make any sense to me because they weren't in our vision yet. We could see 4 of them. And I had made the decision. I would like to use thaumaturgy to make my voice louder, and then I would like to try and intimidate the enemy. And he goes, okay, but why? This was the moment that I had the most disappointing D&D game of my life. But why? The DM asked. I thought it would be an okay idea. I thought it would be a decent idea at least. But no, the question had to be asked. But why? I personally think that whenever you're playing a character, you should play a character in certain ways. I was playing a chaotic good paladin. We were being attacked. I felt like we were going to be overrun. And even though one person was able to hold them off with his cube of force, I still felt like we were going to be pursued. So, in a corner, I tried to do something that I figured a person in a corner would do, try and scare off the larger attacker. But, apparently, it was the wrong decision. As a DM, I feel like it is wrong to ask your players whenever they make a decision and go, but why? Because that sounds like the DM thinks that that is a bad idea. The thing that I think a DM should say is, you can certainly try, or why not? If you'd like. It seems more opening. It seems like the DM is being a little bit more open in that circumstance. So, as a DM, I would like to say the one thing that you should do is not corner your players. Don't make them feel like they are making the wrong decision. Because as a DM and as a player, I try to look at those things. And whenever I saw that he did not care that my player, as a player, I wanted to do the right thing with my character, I then decided he obviously does not care about whether or not my character survives. He doesn't care about whether or not I have fun. And a dungeon master should always care about whether or not you're having fun. Because the simple fact of the matter is that if a dungeon master doesn't care whether or not you're having fun, then that dungeon master should be writing a book, not playing a cooperative social game. Like I said, I don't think that he was always this kind of DM. I don't think that he tries to be this kind of DM. I think that he overwhelmed himself, allowed too many players to sit at his table, and then stopped caring about what all of those characters did. He didn't know if those characters were going to be there every week. He only cares about the characters that are going to be there every week. Only the characters that he cares about. As a DM, I find this to be a little offensive. But at the end of the day, it's fine. I'm not mad at this individual, but I did want to make a story telling you guys about it. A 3-hour game at a local GameStop ended up being the most disappointing game that I've ever played of Dungeons & Dragons. Thank you for watching, everybody. If you liked this video, please don't forget to subscribe. It would be great. Thank you. Goodbye.